Hello there. My name is Wanda Fontaine, and I am currently the Assistant Superintendent of Wetaskiwin Regional School Division. And on behalf of myself and Christian Holtby, the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support, this is the story of practice that will overview how our school division, Wetaskiwin Regional, worked to build systems and processes with the intent of impacting and improving student achievement. This work is ongoing in our division, continues to be a work in progress, but we hope that you will find some value in how we went about planning, implementing, and monitoring this work. Just a little bit about our school division. We currently serve around 3,287 students in 17 schools, and our division encompasses the city of Wetaskiwin, the county of Wetaskiwin, and the town of Millet. Our schools range in size from approximately 12 students in one of our two Hutterite colony schools to over 840 students in a high school in the city of Wetaskiwin. Approximately 951 of our students identify as Indigenous, and geographically, 7 of our schools are located within the city of Wetaskiwin. 7 are rural in the county of Wetaskiwin, and we have 2 colony schools and 1 school in the town of Millet. We employ approximately 232 certified teaching staff and 207 support staff. So as we begin, I want to reference this book, Coherence, because years ago, our system admin team did a book study with this book. And since then, it has really been key in influencing our thinking, our beliefs, and our approach to creating systems and processes that support clarity and efficiency in our school division. And the quote that really stands out for me in this book is to take a complex matter, identify the smallest number of key factors or domains, and simplify it. Make it make sense to those who will be most impacted. So for us, that was key. We didn't want to complicate or make work for people. We wanted to take things that are complicated, make them simple. And along the way, we wanted to align our system and work together collaboratively. So the key objectives that we were working to attain include a greater alignment in our system, cohesiveness across all of our WRPS schools. We wanted to support and foster a culture of collaboration, and we wanted to work from and be responsive to data with the goal of ensuring success for all of our students. I'm going to go through each of those areas in more detail as we go through this presentation. The strategies and structures that we implemented were some common frameworks and structures. We work in the collaborative response framework in all of our schools. I'll talk to you about quarterly instructional reviews that we built, school results template or dashboard for tracking student achievement, and of course, cohesive guiding documents. And lastly, we'll speak a little bit about how having sound and ongoing communication is absolutely key for this to go well. Of course, through all of this work, top of mind for us was addressing and supporting our school administrators for them being able to successfully achieve what's laid out in the LQS, the Leadership Quality Standards. So this was very top of mind for us from all of the things that we built and continue to monitor as we go. All right, so the key objectives. Years ago, our school division was very site-based by design, and all schools and school principals led their schools very independent of one another and independent of centralized coordination from everything to staffing and resourcing and assessments and things. And over the last number of years, we have seen tremendous benefit in aligning our system to have common assessments, to have centralized support deployed to our schools so that there is equity and goals. That one of the main goals was, simplicity for staff. If staff moved around from school to school, we wanted them to land someplace that was familiar in the way the work was being done. And of course, we wanted equity for all of our students. So regardless of the school that they attend in this very large geographic area, we wanted to ensure that all students were able to access all of the same supports that they might need. So that's that cohesiveness piece. Along the way, we also wanted to create and foster and support a greater culture of collaboration. Again, we were very site-based, and we wanted to, build some structures and things for our teachers to be able to come together, work together, our administrators to come together and work together, and work smarter, not harder. And then one of the big, real big changes was to ensure that we were always working from a place of being informed by pertinent and current and reliable data. So that has been very much a work in progress and continues to be. But the goal behind all of that is, of course, to ensure success for our students. All right. So, as previously mentioned, a common structure or framework that we brought into our school division, really led by Christian Holtby, was the collaborative response framework. So we partnered with Jigsaw Learning and worked with all of our school administrators to help them to understand all of the various structures. And I'll go into more depth on that. And then all of the pieces that followed from that. So that was kind of a beginning of the core work. So you may or may not have familiarity with the collaborative response framework, but essentially, it's essentially a framework that allows school staff to work together in a very organized and coordinated manner with a series of different meetings addressing various aspects of supporting student achievement. Collaborative team meetings happening around every 3 to 5 weeks allow for team members to come together, celebrate successes for students, identify students with key issues, determine effective classroom responses, and build the collective capacity of all the team members. The school support team meeting is designed to support specialized needs of students throughout the school. And this team structure provides ongoing support to classroom teachers in regards to individual students and perhaps small groups. Administrators, inclusive education facilitators, or learning support teachers or counselors typically make up this team of partners. This meeting is usually scheduled weekly or bi-weekly to ensure that there are ongoing conversations about student programming, student supports, and perhaps referrals to the division for external services. The case consult team is a more intense level of support, focusing primarily on one student. So the team might require the involvement of other organizations external to the school and engaging with the family or supports for the family. It's very much a wraparound approach. And lastly, WeCollab is a software that we have been implementing as well, which allows teachers and administrators and district personnel to collaborate and collect pertinent data collected in the meetings, and all of the meeting notes secure in one place so that there is a method and a strategy to ensure that the pertinent elements of all meetings are captured. So that is a work in progress. We expect that to be fully operational in all of our schools in the 26-27 school year. All right. So the collaborative response structure came first. And what we determined as a central team was that perhaps there was benefit to devising something we came to call the quarterly instructional review framework. And so we started this work in about the spring of 24 with the intent that we wanted to hold time and space to sit down with our administrators and review their data, their supports, their meeting structures, their successes, their challenges, and progression of their students. So we set out a schedule with us. Scheduling meets with every principal twice annually to go over all of student data, their goals in their school plans, and just sort of a bit of an audit, so to speak, of the system and how everything is being operationalized, and if there were any schools that might require further support to advance this work. So this really afforded us some valuable time to sit down with each principal, and at the completion of those meetings, we would generate a summary report, which we would share back with each administrator, as well as share and review with our superintendent team. And so over time, it's been received very positively, and gives us that really quick, in-depth system scan, and then for us to be able to respond if and where necessary. I really want to punctuate the need to soundly communicate the why with stakeholders. It was imperative for our administrators to understand why we were undertaking this new protocol of having quarterly reviews. So we did that. We communicated the why behind it. And quite frankly, it boiled down to something very simple. Student achievement is the core work. That's our core goal. And, we at the system level and them at the school level should really always have an in-the-moment snapshot and understanding of how our students are doing. So, we communicated that with them and they could understand that. And I think that we've gotten a lot of feedback to that effect, that they have come to recognize it's a great opportunity for us to collaborate. I also do want to share that when I say the quarterly review, 2 times a year we meet face-to-face with each administrator, but 2 times a year we have them share with one another at our leadership team meetings. So that gives them an opportunity to share what they have been doing at their schools with their colleagues. And that has really, really been impactful in principals sharing some really wonderful best practices that then their fellow administrators can take back and implement if they see a need to do that. So that's been very positive as well. Through that process, absolutely key that our role was to listen, to understand what they were doing, how they were doing it, what were they finding success with, what were they finding challenging, asking clarifying questions to deepen our understanding, and then being able to offer supports where it might be required to help them to be able to do their work in the most optimal of ways. So our reflection after the first year of our quarterly reviews was that we were dealing with a lot of benchmark data, and we were dealing with end of the year data, such as provincial achievement and diploma lag data. And that caused us to pause and reflect on, would there be a more deeper and more ongoing method to being able to understand the student achievement picture in the 10 months across a school year. And so we came together and brainstormed, and this question ended up on our whiteboard and continues to be on our whiteboard. But we asked ourselves, what are our ongoing in-year measures and practices? actions that we use to continuously and conscientiously monitor to impact and achieve student success. And that question really led us to developing or beginning to develop, planning to develop a school results report or a dashboard, because we wanted to find a way to easily and effectively track student data in year, not just at the front end and not just at the back end, but all throughout the year. So over the course of this past school year, we worked with our ed tech lead teacher and our administrators to co-create the data sets and the structure of a school results report or dashboard that generates student achievement snapshots for all grades in the 4 core subjects. And really, it really became a more effective way for our administrators to be able to have gradebook supervision and know how their students were doing. So this is going to be, moving forward into next year, a monthly data pull straight out of Power School that's going to allow school administrators to, see how their kids are doing. We started to pull that data this year, and that resulted in our principals having some more in-depth conversations with staff about, outcome coverage, where kids were finding success in a particular outcome, where kids were perhaps struggling with a particular outcome. And so it's rich data that our administrators can use to converse with staff all around the elements that impact student achievement. The monthly data pull also pulls student attendance, behavioral incidents, suspensions, etc. How we started was we had devised our 3-year education plan with 3 distinct grade bands in mind, because they had very distinct data sets that went along with them. We have a K-3 early years band with mandatory provincial assessments. We have grade 4 to 9 middle years, and we have grade 10 to 12. So those 4 years, those 4 early years are very much focused on ensuring that our students are attaining that foundational understanding for literacy and numeracy, as well as attaining the curricular outcomes. Our grades 4 to 9 middle years kids, we were tracking very closely and seeing some lags, so that deserved our time and attention. And of course, kids going into senior high, tend to be on distinct pathways by design on the courses that they take for school completion and readiness for the future. So it started with us just really brainstorming every single potential data set that we thought would have value in us tracking. So you'll see all of the different data sets noted on the screen, right down to credit generation by grade and by school, course completion, pass, fail, and then curricular attainment of the provincial curriculum in the 4 core subject areas. And so this is just a quick snapshot of a pull out of the grade books. We have our grade book set up with all of the organizing ideas and the distinct outcomes. And our ed tech teacher, who's magnificent, was able to design a way to pull this data out so that principals could see this for every grade in their school, and for literacy numeracy, and then for social and science, and see trends and act upon what the data is telling them. So we were far, far more intentional in being able to track student achievement across the school year. The principals actually asked, could this be generated not only at the quarters, but every single month? So moving forward, that is how it will be done. So really key to this going well was to work with our school administrators along the way. We listened to their feedback, paid attention, took notes, and we followed up with their ideas and made amendments based on their suggestions. We wanted this work to help them to do their work And, we basically said, you need to tell us what you need. We're not going to presume to know. So, we intentionally held time and reviewed together. We communicated this across the system, and how processes and procedures already aligning the system would help in doing this work. So we have some divisional frameworks and guiding documents that help support the instructional leadership of all principals to impact student achievement. So we have some structures, some processes, and then really key is having some guiding documents, which I'll show you in a moment. But that clear and ongoing communication is absolutely imperative for anything to go well. So we communicated with our system administrators. We asked them to communicate and show their teachers what we were doing and why we were doing it. Our senior admin superintendent team were constantly reviewing this, and we kept our board of trustees up to date on what we were doing and why we were doing it. And we'll be reporting back to them over the course of next year and years to follow on how our students are doing using all of these processes that we put into play. So guiding documents, our 3-year education plan lays out our priorities, and each school has a distinct learning success story, which is essentially their own school plan. And the template is designed to mirror the priority areas of our 3-year education plan. And we require them to understand and know our 3-year education plan. And then that's the macro level plan. And then it goes into the micro level plan of their own schools. And we ask them to review their data and set goals in all of the priority areas: student achievement, truth and reconciliation, student sense of belonging and well-being, and moving forward, future readiness, and more of a focus on the career education pathway. We also have 2 guiding frameworks: our K-12 literacy guiding framework, which basically we worked on probably 7 years ago now and continue to review. And then the K-12 numeracy framework was created this year. And so moving forward, we have a designated literacy numeracy seconded vice principal who will be leading administrators through this and highlighting the high yield instructional strategies that we've put into these frameworks. And we built some rubrics for administrators to use and reflect on to where they are at in implementing and embodying or bringing to life these high yield instructional strategies in their schools. Part of the quarterly review process will include principals bringing these rubrics and sharing with the senior admin team where they are, where they're growing, what they're doing to grow, etc. So we built some check-in points on that. We also have a common assessment and reporting handbook for teachers that lays out expectations in assignments in gradebook, explains the grade scales that we're using for reporting provincial achievements. But really just if there's anything a teacher ever needed to know in terms of working in WRPS and how we do things in the assessment and reporting realm, it's in the handbook. We have literacy and numeracy assessment guidelines outlining the common literacy and numeracy assessments that we have implemented across our system. So they're common, and it explains exactly what they are, what you do with the results, where you put the results, where you'll get the results, etc. So again, it's literal roadmaps about what to do and how to do it. We also have a very detailed multi-year collaborative response plan. As I said, we brought collaborative response into the fray a number of years ago, and it's continuously revisited and expanded and reviewed, and administrators are very much part of this in coming together and assessing where they are in their journey to fully realizing a high value collaborative response model at their school. Two other areas of our education, three-year education plan, are sense of belonging, well-being, relationships and engagement, and truth and reconciliation. And so these are guiding documents that essentially outline the goals and the strategies in our three-year education plan. Moving forward, we have teams of staff who are going to be developing these into more detailed frameworks to kind of run alongside the literacy and numeracy frameworks. That is a work in progress. So, essentially, how has this work had an impact on learning and student achievement? So, we've had feedback from our leaders that they felt the quarterly review process has been very helpful. They feel engaged and excited about the more extensive data sets. The data sets available support them to do their work in a more focused manner, focused on student achievement. And they have greatly appreciated and continue to appreciate the detailed documents that help, ensure that they're doing what they're needing to be doing, when they're needing to be doing it. The collaborative response framework has provided amazing opportunities for our administrators to grow and learn together, supporting one another, and has ensured consistency and cohesion across all of our schools. I think the most important leadership actions that have advanced this work was to work collaboratively with a very clearly defined purpose. So it's a change cycle, and supporting leaders to be able to do their work more effectively and efficiently. People are down for that. And then anything that we could do at central office, we did it instead of adding more to the administrator plates. So for instance, the school results, they don't have to do a thing that is generated for them by our ed tech lead teacher. Essential practices for success. Be present, pay attention, listen, keep stressing that we're all in this work together, hold time and space to really in-depthly go over these new processes to ensure that administrators understand them, do that work with them. And of course, be responsive and build trust. You've got to be transparent, clear, and genuine in this work, and consistent and comprehensive and clear communication is absolutely essential. So our best advice, start with a solid, comprehensive plan. Seek to align all your priorities through this work. Work cooperatively and collaboratively with your school administrators. Adjust, listen to what they're telling us. They're boots on the ground. See time as a valuable resource and build it into the plan to make sure that you have sufficient time to have people be along the road with you. And you can't over communicate. You could possibly under communicate. So do that on an ongoing, clear manner. And that is essentially the presentation. We hope this has been helpful. And as always, if you need to reach out to Wetaskiwin Regional at any point in time, staff here are more than happy to meet and talk in a more detailed manner about this to help you on your journey. Thank you very much.